The Perks of Being a Wallflower, page 56. January 14th. Dear friend, I feel like a big faker because I've been putting my life back together and nobody knows. It's hard to sit in my bedroom and read like I always did. It's even hard to talk to my brother on the phone. His team finished third in the nation. Nobody told him that we missed the game live because of me. I went to the library and checked out a book because I was getting scared. Every now and then things would start moving again and sounds were bass and heavy and hollow and I couldn't put a thought together. The book said that sometimes people take LSD and they don't really get out of it. They said that it increases this one type of brain transmitter. They said that the drug is eventually 12 hours of schizophrenia, and if you have a lot of this brain transmitter, you don't get out of it. I started breathing really fast in the library. It was really bad because I remembered some of the schizophrenic kids in the hospital when I was little. And it didn't help that this was the day after I noticed that all the kids were wearing their new Christmas clothes. So I decided to wear my new suit from Patrick to school and was teased mercilessly for 9 straight hours. It was such a bad day. I skipped my first class ever and went to see Sam and Patrick outside. Looking sharp, Charlie, Patrick said, grinning. Can I have a cigarette? I said. I couldn't bring myself to say bum a smoke. Not for my first one. I just couldn't. Sam stopped him. What's wrong, Charlie? I told him what was wrong, which prompted Patrick to keep asking if I had a bad trip. No, it's not that. I was getting really upset. Sam put her arm around my shoulder and she said she knew what I was going through. That she told me not to worry about it. Once you do it, you remember how things looked on it. That's all. Like how the road turned into waves and how your face was plastic and your eyes were 2 different sizes. It's all in your mind. That's when she gave me the cigarette. When I lit it, I didn't cough. It actually felt soothing. I know that's bad in a health class way, but it was true. Now focus on the smoke, Sam said. And I focused on the smoke. Now that looks normal, doesn't it? Uh-huh, I said. Now look at this cement on the playground. Is it moving? Uh-huh. Okay, now focus on that piece of paper just sitting there on the ground. And I focused on the piece of paper that was just sitting on the ground. Is the cement moving now? No, it's not. From there you go till you're going to be okay. You should probably never do acid again. Sam went on to explain something that she called the trance. The trance happens when you don't focus on anything and the whole big picture swallows and moves you around. She said it was usually metaphoric, but for people who should never do acid again, it was literal. That's when I started laughing. I was so relieved, and Sam and Patrick smiled. I was glad they started smiling too because I couldn't stand them looking so weird and worried. Things have stopped moving for the most part, and I haven't skipped another class, and I guess now I don't feel like being a big faker for trying to put my life back together. Bill thought my paper on Catcher in the Rye, which I wrote on my new old typewriter, was my best one yet. He said I was developing at a rapid pace and gave me a different kind of book as a reward. It's On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I'm up to about 10 cigarettes a day. Love always, Charlie. January 25th. I feel great. I really mean it. I have to remember this for the next time I'm having a terrible week. Have you ever done that? You feel really bad and then it goes away and you don't know why. I try to remind myself when I feel great like this, there will be another terrible week coming someday, so I should store up as many great details as I can. So during the next terrible week, I can remember all those details and believe that I'll feel great again. It doesn't work a lot, but I think it's important to try. My psychiatrist is a very nice man. He's much better than my last psychiatrist. We talk about things that I feel and think and remember, like when I was little and there was this one time that I walked down the street in my neighborhood. I was completely naked holding a bright blue umbrella, even though it was raining. It wasn't raining. And I was so happy because it made my mom smile, and she rarely smiled, so she took a picture, and the neighbors complained. This other time I saw a commercial for this movie about a man who was accused of murder, but he didn't commit the murder. A guy from a different movie was a star of the movie. That's probably why I remember it. The commercial said that the whole movie was about him trying to prove that he was innocent and how he could go to jail anyway. That scared me a lot. It scared me how much it scared me. Being punished for something you did not do, or being an innocent victim. It's just something I never want to experience. I don't know if it's important to tell you all this, but at the time it felt like a breakthrough. The next best thing about my psychiatrist is that he has music magazines in his waiting room. I read an article about Nirvana on one visit, and it didn't have any references to honey mustard dressing or lettuce. They kept talking about the singer's stomach problems all the time, though. It was weird. Like I told you, Sam and Patrick love their big song, so I thought I'd read it to have something to discuss with them. In the end, the magazine compared him with John Lennon from the Beatles. I told that to Sam later, and she got really mad. She said he was like Jim Morrison if he was like anybody, but really, he isn't like anybody but himself. We were all at the Big Boy after Rocky Horror, and it started this big discussion. Craig said the problem with things is that everyone is always comparing everyone with everyone, and because of that, it discredits people, like in his photography class. Patrick said the problem was that since everything has already happened, it makes it hard to break new ground. Nobody can be as big as the Beatles because the Beatles already gave it context. The reason they were so big is that they had no one to compare themselves to, so the sky was the limit. Sam added that nowadays a band or someone would compare themselves to the Beatles after their second album, and their own personal voice would be less from that moment on. What do you think, Charlie? I couldn't remember where I had heard it or read it. I said it was maybe in This Side of Paradise by Scott F. Fitzgerald. There's a place near the end of the book where the main kid is picked up by some older gentleman. They're both going to an Ivy League homecoming football game, and they have this debate. The older gentleman is established, the young kid is jaded. Anyway, they have this discussion, and the kid is an idealist in a temporary way. He talks about his restless generation and things like that. And he says something like, "This is not a time for heroes, because nobody would let that happen." The book takes place in the 1920s, which I thought was great because I was supposed the same kind of conversation could have happened at the Big Boy. It probably did with our parents and grandparents. It probably was happening to us right now. So I said I thought the magazine was trying to make him a hero, but that later somebody might dig up something to make him seem like less than a person. And I did not know why, because to me, he's just a guy who writes songs that a lot of people like. And I thought that was enough for everyone involved. Maybe I'm wrong, but everyone at the table started talking about it. Sam blamed television, Patrick blamed the government, Craig blamed the corporate media, Bob was in the bathroom. I don't know what it was, and I didn't know if we really accomplished anything, but it felt great to sit there and talk about our place and things. It was like when Bill told me to participate. I went to the homecoming dance like I told you before, but this was much more fun. It was especially fun to think that people all over the world were having similar conversations in their equivalent of the Big Boy. I would have told the table that, but they were really having fun being cynical. And I didn't want to ruin it. So I just sat back a little and watched Sam sitting next to Craig and tried not to be too sad about it. I have to say that I couldn't do it very successfully. But at one point, Craig was talking and Sam turned to me and smiled. It was a movie smile in slow motion. And then everything was okay. I told this to my psychiatrist, but he said it was too soon to draw any conclusions. I don't know, I just had a great day. I hope you did too. Love always, Charlie.